I'm going to go ahead and call us to order and declare that we have a quorum of 4 members present. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Members of the board, we'll begin this meeting as we do all of our meetings with the pledges of allegiance to the American flag, the Texas flag, and a moment of silence. Here to lead us today, we're excited to have some representatives from our Kids Club program. So if we could have those kids come up, and who's going to introduce our young folks to the audience today? Come on up. Whoever's talking has to speak into the microphone. That one right there. There you go.
There we go. Hi, my name is Holly Weston, and I'm the supervisor of Cypress Grove Intermediate. And today I brought with me Grace Lamb. I've known Grace for the past 3 years through Spring Creek Elementary and now with Cypress Grove Intermediate. She absolutely loves to dance and play soccer, and she is such a leader at Cypress Grove and at Spring Creek, and she is so wonderful. So I'm super proud of her and love to introduce her.
Oh, wait. We introducing the other folks? Yeah.
Hello. Oh, sorry. Don't speak into mics. Hello. I'm Sarah Makiyama. I'm the assistant at Oakwood Intermediate. I brought with me Ruby. I've known Ruby for like 3 years now. She is like the most energetic. She has the best positive attitude. She's just one of those kids that you're just like, man, like she's just awesome. So I'm so excited that she's here with me at Oakwood. Yeah.
And I'm Allison Kennedy. I'm the supervisor at Oakwood, and this is actually my first year working with Ruby, but I'm super excited to have her at my site. So.
Good evening. I'm Allison Drawbeck, and I am the supervisor at Pecan Trail. Today I'm introducing Ava Sutherland. I was able to meet Ava about a year ago when I started at Pecan Trail, and she also started her Kids Club career in the intermediate school. And so just like to introduce her. She is such a great helper. She has great leadership skills, and she just exhibits great kindness with her classmates in our after-school program.
She's good. Right there.
Please stand for the U.S. pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now for the Pledge of Allegiance to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please join me for the moment of silence. You now may be seated.
Oh, that was a moment. Hey. Come on up. And Mr. Harris, we have no more recognitions.
It's okay. All right, as everyone's getting settled, I'll point out the artwork on the back wall, which has been provided by some students from Kids Club. Take a moment and have a look. It's amazing how talented the students are. It takes us to item D, consent agenda, which are items G, H1, H2, H3, J6 through 14. Does anyone wish to remove any of the consent agenda items for discussion? Motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. That takes us to item E1, board reports and announcements. Does anyone have any reports or announcements? Okay, then superintendent report, Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Just wanted to report that we've had a very successful start to the school year in College Station ISD. On August the 8th, we welcomed back a little over 1,900 full and part-time employees back to the school district. And then we last Thursday, on the 15th, we opened up school at our now 19 campuses. And as of this afternoon, Mr. Martindale, it's somewhere around 4 o'clock. We had about 13,880 or so students in the computer system here and attending schools in College Station ISD. We know that number will move. Board members know that number moves up and down as those who are in the computer have gone, some have gone somewhere else. And then we also are still receiving kids who are coming in every day and enrolling in our schools. So that number will continue to build as we go through this fall semester. I've had a fabulous opening to our 19th campus, Riverbend Elementary School. It was great to have that done in the late spring and have allowed Principal Robin Jones and her staff the opportunity to move in. We had, as many board members are aware, a great new teacher university for our about 130 or so new teachers that joined us for this school year. It has been great. You know, we don't. We get into this business to have teachers and kids with us, and so to have all of our staff back and to have all these kids back, eager to join us and excited about learning has been great to welcome them back into College Station ISD. And we've just had a fabulous start to the school year, and we're just looking forward to the fall and cooler weather and all the great things that are going to happen in the fall and the 2019-2020 school year. And that is my report.
Great. Thank you for that report. I guess that takes us then to item F, hearing of citizens. Do we have any additional cards? Technically, your cards are for this. You want to speak again? No? Okay. Then that takes us to item J1, consider approval of school district budget for fiscal year beginning September 1st, 2019 and ending August 31st, 2020. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, members of the board. This is the third time this evening we'll be speaking about the proposed budget for the 2019-2020 school year. This is the time, though, where we will be asking for your consideration and approval of the budget. We've been working on this since March of this year and have got a great deal of feedback. We've had budget sessions every month leading up to this point that we are here today, and with more information on the administration's recommendation for the 2019-2020 budget is Mike Martindale, Deputy Superintendent and Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Martindale.
Thank you, Dr. Ely, Mr. Harris, and board members. As Dr. Ely mentioned, we began this process back in March and worked on the budget at every board workshop from March up through earlier this evening. In addition to that, we held our public hearing at 6:45 just a few minutes ago, as well to receive feedback on a proposed budget. A reminder also for everyone, again, because it's been 6 months since we started this process. In June, we approved our compensation package for 1920, and in that, and a part of this budget was an increased compensation to our current employees of a grand total of $3.8 million. Also included in this proposed budget is an additional $200,000 in payroll to allow us to increase our pay rate for substitutes for 1920. Also, $1.8 million worth of new positions to meet needs throughout the district of our growing population, but just growing needs among our current students, as well as $850,000 of new personnel to account for the opening of Riverbend. So a lot of work. We progressed again from March, April, May under the old school finance system where we were sharing an $18 million recapture payment in the face, and then with that House Bill 3 allowed us to do these things with our compensation and new positions for our employees and the kiddos of our district. Be happy to answer any questions that we haven't discussed already this evening or previously. You have our proposed budget from the 1920 school year. We'll be looking for approval of that at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions, comments about the budget? Well, I want to say one thing about the budget. I appreciate all the work that's gone into it, particularly in such a trying year. Usually there's some, I'll say like a linear progression, if you will, as we work through it and you refine numbers. Well, this year it was anything but linear because the system fundamentally changed. It's kind of like switching horses in the middle of a horse race. I mean, you kind of had to jump off of that one and get on a completely different one and figure it out in time for this meeting so that we can actually pass a budget as required by law. So thank you very much for the hard work you put in. I'd also like to point out, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
That how much I appreciate the balance you're, and I know it's not just you, it's the entire administration is working to strike with the budget. It's a tough balance as we look at borrowing money, spending what we have, and then saving money for the future. And with our district and the growth that we've had, we have really had to pay attention to those. And I think you've done a very good job. And just to say it slightly differently, we don't want to mortgage the future and have large expenditures today that might be inappropriate, but at the same time, we don't want to underspend and not meet the needs of our students, teachers, and other staff today just for the sake of building up a large fund balance. And I appreciate the work you've put in and the hard choices you've had to make throughout the process. So thank you.
I'd just like to commend the board on your work through this entire process and the vision, the direction that you've given the administration as we've gone forward to set this budget. House Bill 3, this last legislative session, is a game changer for the state of Texas. It represents a significant investment in the public school kids of Texas on behalf of the Texas Senate and the Texas House. It was a benefit to College Station ISD in our initial projections of about $5.2 million additional dollars for school kids and teachers and staff in College Station ISD. I'm proud to say that this budget reflects about 73% or $3.8 million of that 5.2 going directly into increasing compensation for our employees, and that was prioritized for teachers, especially with teachers with 6 or more years of experience. Understanding that the way the system works, different school districts receive different amounts of money, have different capacities to meet those needs, but the budget that you have before you for your consideration in just a moment reflects a big commitment on the part of the school district administration and the school district board of trustees in meeting the needs of our teachers and all of our staff members. So I'm excited to be able to do that to for our taxpayers out there. I'm excited that we can offer a tax reduction. 7 cents of that is tax compression that comes from House Bill 3, so that is mandated, and that was filled in with additional state dollars and even more state dollars on top of that. The lowering of the tax rate for our interest and sinking or our debt service is a result of increasing property values in our community and the ability of us to be able to pay off some debt early. So to be able to pass that along to taxpayers is great. That's money that we would not be able to use for any other means other than paying our debt service on that INS tax rate. So we have worked very hard on this. I want to commend Mr. Martindale, our Deputy Superintendent, Thad Lassiter, our Director of Business Services, and his staff for all of their work behind the scenes to put everything together for what we have before you today. So it would be our recommendation that the board approve the budget as presented.
Thank you.
I make the motion that we approve the school district budget for the fiscal year beginning September 1st, 2019 and ending August 31st, 2020 as presented by Mr. Martindale.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. That takes us to item J2, consider approval of ordinance adopting tax rate for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, members of the board. This is the second part of what we must do now that we have a budget adopted. We have to have a tax rate to be able to fund that budget. And with our two tax rates that we have for your consideration, now is Mr. Martindale.
Thank you, Dr. Ely. Our proposed maintenance and operations tax rate to fund a budget we just approved for 1920 is 97 cents per $100 in taxable value. And again, that's a compression on the $1 previously through House Bill 3 and states required. Combined with other state and local revenues, this will fund our general fund budget for 1920. The recommended rate of 26.9 cents will take care of our debt service payments. So it would be our recommendation that the board approve the total tax rate of $1.23.9 for the 1920 school year. This is a decrease, sorry, I almost said it wrong, a decrease over a current year by 9.69%.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, comments?
I make the motion that we approve the tax rates as presented by Mr. Martindale.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Well, I'm going to comment before we go because a 9.69% reduction in the tax rate is a big deal. And I think definitely some of it, I think you rightly attribute it to the legislature and their commitment to public education, but also tax relief. And I do think it's important because we don't miss an opportunity here to point out when they do things the other way. So I think it's important that we point out the opportunity when they do invest in public education in Texas, that we applaud it and that we tell them how much we appreciate the investment in the future of our state. But also with that, there's another almost 7 cents of that tax rate that is partly attributable to increased values, but it's also good management of our debt and use of those funds. And for that, I think it's important to recognize the work that you all have done in terms of managing that debt and the payment structure, as well as I think our advisors have given us sound advice on that. And at least we were smart enough to follow it. So we've got that going for us. So I just wanted to point that out. Any other comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the tax rate as presented. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. It takes us to J3. Consider approval for refunds for agreed judgment rulings on Brazos Texas Land Development LLC 2017 values and Midway Hospitality LP 2016 values in the amounts of $670.84 and $181,223.43 respectively. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, members of the board. From time to time, taxpayers will challenge their assessed values through the Brazos Central Appraisal District, and oftentimes agreements are reached in those suits. Many times, if there is money that will need to go back to taxpayers, those funds are simply withheld from disbursements from the Central Appraisal District to us. We're at a time, though, now where the CAD is not taking up any taxes, and in order to not pay any penalties or interest to get back to these two particular entities, we would need your approval to make these payments. So with more information on that is Mr. Martindale.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ely. On July 31st, we were notified by Brazos County Tax Office of refunds due to two taxpayers as a result of judgment rulings agreed to in the District Court of Brazos County 85th District. The rulings reduced the taxable appraised values of three properties and result in the ordered refunds we have listed here before you in the agenda. To Midway Hospitality, the ordered refund is, as Mr. Harris mentioned, $181,223. And to Brazos Texas Land Development, $670.84. As Dr. Ely mentioned, throughout the course of the year if there are settlements and ordered refunds from previously appraised values or contested values. Ms. Rowe at the tax office will withhold those collections before they disperse or pay the district, send revenue to the district. Because of the timing of these, really aren't collecting any property tax revenue through the tax office at this point in time. And due to penalties that can be incurred if we don't take care of this refund in a timely manner, that we're recommending motion to go ahead and issue these refunds. We'll do this using current year 18-19 general fund. We have capacity to manage that accordingly.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments? Motions?
Any comments?
No, no comments other than,
I move that we approve the refunds as presented by Mr. Martindale.
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion and a second. I'll ask, any further comments? Okay. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries 4-0. And that takes us to item J4. Consider approval of purchase of replacement servers throughout the district in the amount of $124,944 from Avanex per Department of Information Resources contract using 2015 bond funds. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Harris, members of the board. We do, from time to time, have to replace a lot of our technical equipment. And what you have before you this evening is about $125,000 worth of server replacement at various locations throughout the district. With more information on this item is Mr. Martindale.
Sir, thank you, Dr. Ely and Mr. Harris. Board members, technology departments identify the need to replace 12 servers throughout the district. The servers are available per the Department of Information Resource contract with Hewlett-Packard. DIR is an agency of the state of Texas, has established contracts with vendors. All their contracts have been competitively bid and meet competitive bid requirements. It is our recommendation that we purchase these servers in the amount of $124,944 from Avanex, and this would be through DIR contract TSO 4160, and we would be utilizing 2015 bond funds for this purchase.
Okay, I'm going to abstain from discussion and voting on this matter. So with that, do any of you have any comments, discussion, questions?
I make the motion that we approve the purchase of the servers through the 2015 bond funds as presented by Mr. Martindale. And hopefully I won't have to say his name anymore tonight.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So motion carries 4-0 with one abstention, and I would note that we now have a quorum present of 5 members. Okay, with that, that takes us to item J5. Thank you. Consideration, discussion, possible action related to an affiliation agreement with the College Station ISD Education Foundation. Dr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. We have a great relationship with the College Station ISD Education Foundation. They are an independent 501c3 that serves to raise funds in this community to serve our teachers with innovative teacher grants and our students through scholarships and in a number of other ways. The Education Foundation is a great resource and a great partner for College Station ISD. Since we have this relationship with them, we we from time to time need to update our affiliation agreement. So what you have before you this evening for your consideration is a 3-year affiliation agreement that determines the role that staff members will play and the financial support that both the foundation will provide for the school district and that the school district provides for the foundation. So it would be the administration's recommendation that we approve this as presented.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Just to say one more time, what a wonderful affiliation this is with Education Foundation, everything they do for our schools and our teachers and our students. And I think we're very fortunate to have this relationship. So, any other?
Yeah, you really can't say it enough. We really are blessed. I'm looking for Teresa. I know she's out there somewhere. There she is. Hey. Thank you so much for all you do and your board members and everyone who supports the foundation. It raises a lot of money, and I think more importantly than that, it generates so much positive spirit and is just a heck of a lot of fun. So thank you. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the affiliation agreement with the CSISD Education Foundation as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm just going to stop asking. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Take us to executive.
Executive session.
Okay, we're going to move into executive session for 2 items, and I will read those off now. The first is item L1 on our agenda. The board will meet in executive session to conduct a closed meeting to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property because the deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the district in negotiations with a third party. The executive session deliberations will be held pursuant to the deliberations regarding real property closed meeting exception to the Texas Open Meetings Act as set forth in section 551.0742 of the Texas Government Code. The second item for executive session is L2, consideration and discussion related to the superintendent evaluation. The executive session deliberations will be held pursuant to the personnel matters closed meeting exception to the Texas Open Meetings Act as set forth in section 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. So with that, we will retire to executive session, and if any action is to be taken, we will return to open session.
Mr. President, I would like to abstain from any discussion on, personally abstain from any meetings or voting on any land purchases for this evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll head back. All right, we're back in open session. We have M1, Dr. Ely.
Mr. Harris, members of the board, the administration recommends no action this evening on item M1.
Okay, any question or comment about that? Okay, then with that, we are adjourned.